Hello my frugal friends, my name is Christine and welcome back to my channel. Today we have another extreme grocery budget challenge and it's gonna be a little bit different than my previous ones. We are going to go to our local food pantry and see what kind of food they hand out and see if there's any good meals we can come up with. We are going to go volunteer at our local food pantry. I'm gonna take you guys with me. We're gonna take the camera around and see what kind of things they hand out and we will recreate the box. All these cars lined up on the side of the road are volunteers. And there's the warehouse. I have been volunteering with my kids at this food pantry for the last 4 or so years. You can see the semi truck there delivering all of the food. I love that this time there was so much snow. You see these people shoveling all of the snow out of the way so the cars can pull up and the boxes are loaded from the warehouse into the cars as they drive through. So it's like a car drive-through delivery system.
But I'm the director of the mobile food pantry. Throughout the month, I try to gather volunteers. We do that through a Facebook page, reduce the stigma surrounding people who are food insecure, encouraging people to reach out and get help. We are the most impoverished county in the state of Idaho by more than double, with a poverty rate of 40%. And so the Idaho Food Bank, which is a nonprofit for the whole state of Idaho, they're desperate to get food into our county. The Idaho Food Bank continues to send us food once a month. Food is all stuff that's donated by stores, by farmers. We get a lot of potato products, so potatoes are our strong game. We never know what we're getting until the day of when we're unloading it. We average about 500 every month, 500 families. You're looking at about 1,800 people. You don't have to show any proof of income. You don't have to show proof of residence. We take people on their word that if you need food, we're here to help you, give you some food, no questions asked. People show up in nice cars and in nice jeans and you're thinking, man, that's such a nice car, are you sure you need this box of food? That was the first mistake I had, and then she gets out and tells me how she's picking up for the 2 elderly people that live on both sides, and I just am thinking, okay, never again will I question anybody or deny anybody food. In a lot of communities, there's lots of other food banks that pop up. A lot of those can be found through crisis centers. Reach out to your schools, reach out to local crisis centers, local police departments, and ask them what resources there are for food in that area. Access the programs. They're there to be used.
I like to bring my kids, I have 3 of them, and get them out in the community, teach them some service, and I enjoy the atmosphere that's in here, and I enjoy having the chance to get out of the house.
Hey, so let's take a look at what is in the box this month. So there's this huge package of rolls right here that my son has. Looks like a 5 or 3 pound bag of potatoes, a big bag of apples. I think it's more than 5 pounds. There's a lot in that bag. Some pasta, actually a lot of pasta. That's typically something that they send. Pasta is very cheap and it's easy to distribute. There are various canned items every time, and some of these boxes looked a little different than each other, but this is the box I happen to look at. Oh hey, more pasta. This is a absurd amount of refried beans. Huge thing of spaghetti sauce. Holy moly, what am I gonna cook with all of this stuff? Split pea soup, ew. Frozen Amy's macaroni and cheese. And so let's go to Walmart and try and recreate this box. So I wrote down a list of every single thing that I found in the box, and I went to Walmart to try and pick out what kind of matched. And I was really curious to see what the cost of all of these items would be at the end of the day, like when I came home with them. Now, of course, I will show you what I paid for these items, but if you had gone to this food pantry at this time, you of course would have gotten all of these items for free. And for the purposes of this video, I did want to say that the only dollar amounts I will be adding to my total for the thumbnail and for the title is going to be the additional items that I added to actually make a meal out of what came in the box, if you will. Keep in mind, I'm feeding 6 people in my family, so each meal that I'm counting is like for 1 person, right? So if you only have to feed 2 people, these meals would go significantly further than if you had to feed 10 people. I hope that makes sense to you. It makes sense in my head, but that doesn't always translate. I just wanted to make that kind of clear on how I'm calculating out what a meal is, basically feeding 1 person at 1 meal. And this is not going to be like 7 dinners, 7 lunches, 7 breakfasts, because that's just not what came in the box unless you want to eat mac and cheese for breakfast. And I hope you didn't mind here that I got the cheaper macaroni and cheese instead of the expensive one, because over $4 for frozen macaroni and cheese. Wow. I just didn't want to spend quite that much. Here is my receipt from the Walmart for everything that I grabbed, $95.40. According to the box I dug through at the food pantry, this is everything that was in it. The only switch out I did was I did this cheaper version of the frozen mac and cheese instead of the Amy's like you saw in the store, because the Amy's was like over $4 for one. I don't have any gluten issues, so I didn't need rice noodles. So I went for the $1 version. I hope that's okay with you, but I did get the 6 that came in the box. And I think I made a mistake over here now that I'm thinking about it, because I wrote down on my list that there were 8 cans of Amy's organic soups. As I went back and looked at the video, I think there were only 6. So I may have gotten 2 extra. And the ones that came in the box were split pea, and I don't care for split pea soup. So I got different flavors. I hope that's okay with you. They had a number 10 can of refried beans, which is astronomical, and I couldn't find that at my Walmart, so I just grabbed, these are 2 pounds each, and the number 10 can was 6 pounds of refried beans. So here we go, 6 pounds of refried beans. And again, on the spaghetti sauce, I couldn't find a number 10 can in the store, so I just measured out to make sure I had over 6 pounds. 3 boxes of the Barilla chickpea pasta. These are only 8.8 ounces each. 1 pound of whole wheat rotini, just like the box that was offered, and 2 pounds of small shell noodles. 1 12-count box of the chocolate chip Cliff Bars. They were handing out turkeys to everybody. I didn't get close enough to see what size. They don't hand out the turkeys until the cars pull up at the food pantry, so it wasn't actually in the box that I looked at, so I just took a guess and picked. It looked like they had Jenny-O turkeys there. So 5 pounds of cuties, 5 pounds of potatoes, 5-pound bag Red Delicious apples, and lastly, I think this is the exact thing I found in the box, this 24-count French steak rolls. Clearly, I think the most obvious thing to make is spaghetti back here. So we'll probably start with that. Let me put this away and show you the meals that we come up with. First morning for breakfast, we are gonna have a Cliff Bar and a cutie. Yay! If you happen to have milk in the house, have a glass of milk. Breakfast on day 2 are the last 6 Cliff Bars, 1 apple per person, and to go with the apples, I thought we would do some chunky peanut butter. I just happen to have this in my pantry. I want to say I got this on sale for 99 cents. Are you guys team chunky or team creamy? We are house divided. Dinner tonight for my family of 6 is gonna be spaghetti, sort of. I mean, not spaghetti, because it's chickpea, however you say that noodle. I'm gonna do 2 boxes because I don't think 8 ounces will feed my family. The pasta and the sauce came in the box. I did have this in my freezer. If you've seen any of my other videos, you guys know I love my clearance food. So I'm gonna brown this up and mix it in with the sauce. If you don't have this, you don't have to do it. This will be fine as is. And I'm gonna dig around in my fridge and see if I can find some vegetable remnants to make a salad as well. Some of our pasta sauce, maybe half of this big jar. Whoa, don't splash everywhere. So I have about this much. Hey, here's our first food pantry dinner. I did add a few things I had laying around, like I had the breadsticks in the freezer, chickpea pasta with the spaghetti sauce they gave us with my clearance turkey sausage. The saddest salad I've ever made with just lettuce and croutons, but I did have some cheese. So if people want cheese, they can add that. I do have some parm in the fridge to add to the pasta, although you don't need it, and whatever salad dressings you like. Today for lunch, we're eating our mac and cheese, guys, with an apple on the side. You can add peanut butter if you want, but we're not doing that today. What's annoying about this is I have to do them all. I have to do them all separately. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. This is gonna be our dinner tonight. The remains of our pizza sauce, the rolls, the corn, the vitamin water, and I did add now you're probably thinking, what kind of crazy casserole am I putting together here? I'm not. I'm just gonna have Dave drink that. This is gonna be a side dish. We're having pizzas. We're doing little mini pizzas. If you happen to have ham or pepperoni or sausage or bell peppers or whatever, you can add that to this, but cheese pizzas are totally fine. I don't know about you guys, but we actually do pizzas like this a lot. I always use a shortcut for the crust, whether it's clearanced out French bread or my clearanced naan. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that's one of my favorite things to do. And this was a huge hit. When my kids saw that we were doing little mini individual pizzas, they were like, woohoo, can I eat 4 by myself? And I said, you know what? Eat as many as you want. How cute are these? And plus, you know, you could even have the kids make their own. And if you happen to have some pepperoni or ham or some bell peppers, you can totally add that on top too. This is a nice clear out the fridge type of meal as well. Have a vitamin water. Here's the completed pizzas. Each kid got 2 of those, a cutie and corn. I opened one of the cans of corn and just cooked that up in the stove as a side dish. I'm going to prep the turkey breast by cooking just the whole thing in my Instant Pot. Now clearly this is not an Instant Pot. They all work the same, so if you don't have one and you've been wanting to pick one up, you can pick up one of the other brands. I find them to be extremely similar. You can also do this in a crock pot or just on a pot in the stove. Let's put this entire thing in here, put in some water, cook it for like an hour. I added 3 cups of water in there, so put the lid on, make sure that the sealing ring is in there. Don't ask me how I know to double check that. We're gonna set it to seal. And poultry only does 15 minutes, but this thing is huge. I'm gonna have it go for an hour. And the gravy packet that came with it, we'll just stick this in the fridge. We are going to utilize this in one of our meals. And took it all off the bone and then stuck the remaining bones and some water and bay leaves in my Instant Pot and ended up with all of this turkey broth, which I didn't measure, but this is a fairly big bowl. Today we are going to put together a turkey corn chowder in the Instant Pot, and we're kind of making it up as we go. You can also make this on a pot on the stove or in a crock pot. It'll just take longer. And use this in my soup and also in another dish. I'm gonna start by adding a couple of cups of the turkey. This is totally cooked. We're gonna add several cups of our turkey broth. I'm trying to measure it here for you. 2, 4. Let's go with 4 because I wanna keep some for some of our other meals. We're gonna add 1 of our cans of corn. Please drain this before adding it. We are now gonna make use of some of our potatoes. I'm gonna scrub these really well under the water and with a scrubby brush to get all the dirt off, but we're gonna leave the skins on and just chop them up and throw them in. Let's do about 4 of these. Throw all those in there. Now, I'm a huge fan of your standard salt and pepper. Makes everything taste good. And in poultry, I actually really like the taste of thyme and bay leaves. If you only have dried, that's totally okay. It's very inexpensive. We'll just do the whole thing. Nobody lives forever, right? I'm gonna say about a half a teaspoon of pepper. I'm eyeballing this totally. I love pepper. Same in the salt. We can always add more salt later. Always, always, always. And lastly, we're gonna mix up our gravy packet just like it says on this little bag. Here's our mixed gravy, and we're gonna go about half of this. Maybe a little bit more than half, it's fine. I ended up hitting the soup button. It says 30 minutes at high pressure, and let's check it in a bit. Really hot. It's still fairly soupy, and I do have a little tip for you if you prefer a thicker soup. Oh, let's get all that thyme stem out of there. You don't want to eat that piece. Throw in some instant mashed potatoes. I do keep a little bag on hand just for this purpose. Now's the time to test for salt and pepper. We can add a little bit more of that if you would like. There, you see how it's already a little bit thicker. Turkey corn chowder for the win. We are gonna be doing one of my family's favorite go-tos, which is chicken pot pie. But in this case, I guess it would be turkey pot pie. I'm chopping up the potatoes that came in the box. I found an onion and some sketchy looking carrots in my fridge, so I thought I would throw those in along with some celery. And what I love about chicken pot pie or turkey pot pie or whatever is you could just like grab all your vegetables and throw them in. And the way that I cook it is not your traditional way of cooking it. Mine's more of a vegetable pot pie with a little bit of turkey added. So as you can see, I mean, this is a huge amount of vegetables that I put into this pot with just a little bit of turkey. Salt and pepper it heavily and then cover it with broth and let it simmer until all the vegetables are cooked. And then I usually like to add heavy cream, but because I didn't have any of that and it can be expensive, I decided to thicken this up with the instant mashed potatoes because they're really cheap and shelf stable. And now it's time to add the corn. You can add peas, broccoli, asparagus. I've done all kinds of vegetables. Green beans are really good. Basically, it's a clear out the fridge of all of your vegetable remnants. As you can see, it's not that thick. So what we're gonna do is add some mashed potato bits. You could totally do some cornstarch and water mix or a roux with flour and fat. This is the easiest for me. And it does give it a little bit of extra salt. And just because we like pepper at our house, I'm gonna add some crushed red pepper flakes just to give it a little something special. To finish up our chicken pot pie, since I have so much filling, I stuck it in a 10 by 15 to make it super easy. I'm just gonna top it with these Grand's biscuits. Of course, I got those on clearance. And I'm gonna chop them in half so they go further and put them all over the top and bake it like that. Of course, you can make your own pie crust. I do have a video on that. It's kind of older, but it's right here for you. And I will leave a link to the recipe down below. My homemade pie crust is so delicious, but it does take some time and it assumes you have some extra ingredients in the house. This is a very, very cheap way to do it. And of course you can make your own biscuits as well. There's a lot of different ways to do this. And clearly I'm only putting the biscuits on the top. Completed chicken pot pie. It's so bubbly and delicious. And like I said, I had cut all the biscuits in half so they're actually not that tall. And I made sure to put this on the lower rack so they would cook all the way through. And I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys and tell you that this amount of refried beans is like really eye-opening, trying to figure out what in the world to make with it that's not like all nachos forever and ever and a day. So I decided some grilled stuffed burritos would be really nice. So I mushed up the refried beans with salsa and rice and got some like clearance tortillas that I had in my freezer, put some cheese on there, the bean and rice and salsa mixture, and rolled them up tight and then grilled them on my griddle like this. My family loves these. You can serve it with salsa, guac, sour cream, or nothing. It's a very quick and easy dish and something that everybody likes in my family. I did the best I could with like this vast amount of refried beans that I was given. They actually really loved this. They were pretty excited about this meal and honestly all wanted more. This is one of my least favorite meals ever, and because I typically don't like chicken salad sandwiches, I was trying really hard to make it something that was good and that I like. I added some mustard because I love mustard, a little bit of mayo, not too much, and I do adore pickles. So I took the apples and I chopped them up super, super small and mixed it in with this, and it was life-changing. The sweetness of the apple was such a win. Haley and Dave raved and raved and raved about this. Don't forget your salt and pepper. Oh, and hey, by the way, if you didn't know, sandwiches cut in half taste better than sandwiches not cut in half. Try it. I promise you won't be disappointed. Dinner tonight, we're going to use these items we got from our food pantry box. The turkey, one box of the whole wheat rotini, and the other half of our gravy that came in the turkey packet. And we're going to make turkey tetrazzini, kind of. I added Parmesan cheese, garlic, some butter, sour cream, and cream of mushroom, and some peas if I can find some in the freezer. I'm basically just gonna cook all these and mix them in a bowl and stick them in a casserole dish. My noodles are about finished, so I'm going to drain these. And this is my sauce. So I have the cream of mushroom, the sour cream, Parmesan cheese, the onion, the turkey, and the rest of that gravy packet, which made it kind of nice and thick. And I found 1 can of peas, and I don't love canned peas, like they're kind of dull green, but hey, this is a good way to use them and it'll make the whole dish not be beige. Mix it into the pasta and bake it. This would have looked a lot better with spaghetti noodles or something, but it's okay. And we're gonna stick this in our oven. It's actually way saucier than it looks. For some reason, these whole wheat noodles don't hang on to the sauce very well. 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes, top it with some cheddar cheese, and we'll be ready to go. It actually smells really, really good. We have a little bit of an experiment today with our spaghetti sauce and 1 box of our shells. We're gonna try and make lasagna soup, which is not something I have ever done before. Always have chicken bouillon or broth in my house, so we're gonna use this since my other homemade stuff is gone. This is some Italian sausage that I pulled out of my freezer. I already had it. You don't have to use it. Had some cottage cheese, picked up on clearance in my fridge, trying to use that up. Dump stuff in this pot on the stove and see if we can get it to taste good while using up all the spaghetti sauce and pasta that they gave us in our box. We're gonna go, let's say 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. That looks close. Some garlic powder, I don't know, a teaspoon. And some minced onion, maybe a tablespoon of that. I'm doing this left-handed, so fingers crossed I don't go overboard. I just tasted my lasagna soup so far and it's got a kick. I should have taken under consideration. I used spicy sausage in this and the crushed red pepper flakes, so maybe one or the other. And we're just gonna cook that until all the pasta's cooked, and we're gonna top it with our cottage cheese mixture. Here's the completed soup with the cooked noodles. This tastes so good. Flavor is amazing. And the last little step is to mix together some oregano and cottage cheese or ricotta and a little dollop on top of your bowl. Man, that looks so delicious. My kids are gonna be so excited. You know, for tonight's dinner, I keep staring at all of these refried beans. So this is the leftover from the burritos that we had, the rest of the can that I had opened. And I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the soups. And I'm thinking, what else can I do with the soups other than open it up and eat a can of soup? Pull a Frugal Fit grandma, take a little nod from my mom, and do a clean out the fridge chili. That's what we're doing. We're making chili out of this stuff. I do have a lone package of hamburger in the freezer. Who doesn't have a lone package of hamburger in the freezer? I have some sad looking celery, 1 lone onion, use my refried beans as my bean, and my tomato soup as my tomatoes. Ground beef is almost cooked, so I'm gonna add my celery and onion now. Time to add our tomatoes and spices to our chilies, 2 cans of our tomato soup. And I'm gonna fill these with water and add the same amount of cans with water. Kind of like that. Here comes the chunky vegetable soup, way more watery as you can see. But once I add the chili powder and stuff, it should be extremely healthy serving of chili powder. I'd say at least a 1/4 cup, maybe 1/3 of a cup. Just added all the refried beans. My container's empty. I think I'm gonna add maybe 2 cups of water to kind of thin it out a bit. My chili is totally done. It looks gorgeous and it smells so good. And much like the lasagna soup, this is definitely enough for 2 full meals. And if you want a little trick for having your chili go further, serve it over rice. It's how I was raised. My dad came from a very poor family and they added basically rice to every dish to have it stretch further so it would be cheaper. So if you serve this with rice, and my kids are very used to it because it's how I ate it growing up, that's how my kids ate it growing up. And if you want to use up the rest of your potatoes that came in your food pantry box, you can put this on top of the potatoes. So I keep looking at these refried beans and it's so many refried beans. So today I'm gonna try and make nachosagna, which is basically nachos layered like lasagna. Instead of using ground beef, which I would normally use with taco seasoning, we're just gonna do beans and ex-nay the meat. We're gonna add some water to the refried beans and some taco seasoning to give it some flavor. Layer these with chips, salsa, and cheese to make like nachos and bake it in the oven. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can use up both of our cans and our refried beans will be gone. Yippee skippy, let's see what we can come up with. I have my huge 10 by 15 glass baking dish here and I started with a layer of salsa and the remainder of a bag of crumpled up chips. These beans can handle a lot of taco seasoning and hopefully I can use all of it in here. But if not, I do have one more idea. Fingers crossed I use all the beans. Okay, here we go. About to go into the oven. And I did not use all of the refried beans, but don't worry, I have a plan. Into the oven we go. I have it at 375, probably 30 to 40 minutes. It just pulled out of the oven and it's all bubbly and smells delicious. We like to serve ours with sour cream on the side and lettuce, kind of like it's a taco salad, if you know what I mean. And I found some bell peppers in my fridge, so I just cut those up and Dave's gonna throw on some olives on his hurl. Oh, and I'm reading these books at the moment. And because this pan is so huge, I cannot imagine we will finish this tonight. We'll probably eat half of this, so this is 2 dinners for our family of 6. This may be cheating, I'm not sure, but my creativity is going out the window, so we just had canned soup for lunch this day. And I wanted to use up the rest of my apples, so I decided to just throw them into the oatmeal. I had some steel cut oats. I cooked them in my Instant Pot. It's one of my favorite ways to do steel cut oats, and chopped up the fresh apples and put them on top. If you've never done it this way, you should. You don't have to cook the apples for it to taste really, really delicious. And this ended up being actually one of Haley's new favorite things. I figured out how to use the rest of my refried beans. We're gonna make taco pizzas with a little inspiration from the Pioneer Woman because I've been making her taco pizza for a very long time. A little bit of cheddar cheese, and I can use up the lettuce I chopped up yesterday for a little bit of topping, some sour cream. It's gonna be delicious. So let's make this right now. Ta-da, taco pizzas. These are really, really good. And you know, you can make your own pizza crust, which I have done in the past, but I've never really found a pizza crust that I've been really, really happy with. So these little clearance naans are perfect in my opinion. Also, Dollar Tree carries some pre-made pizza crust, a 2-pack for $1, which is pretty inexpensive as well. Okay, finishing up the chickpea pasta and the rest of the spaghetti sauce. We're just gonna do as traditional spaghetti, but I'm going to use one of the tricks my mom used to do, and that was to put, well, she did hot dogs, but I don't have hot dogs, but I do have this Louisiana smoked sausage. It's a touch freezer burnt, but it was in the freezer. So we're gonna chop this super, super small and mix it in. If you've never mixed in like hot dogs or chunked sausage like this into your spaghetti, you should, because it's really good and kids love it. Sorry, this one is not that creative, but I'm like, this is so much, this is so much spaghetti sauce and more pasta in a week and a half than I've eaten in the last year, honestly. And I gotta say, I am not a fan, like our whole family, we are not fans of this chickpea pasta. It is, the texture is very, very weird. So in my opinion, it's not worth the money. Ryan is extremely excited about eating this for dinner. Here is the completed pasta dish with my sausage. And like I said, totally, you can do this with any shape of pasta and hot dogs. This is what my mom used to do. Do you remember when I would make spaghetti with Louisiana sausage in it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
This is similar to that.
Is it?
Yeah. I'm just trying to use up those chickpea noodles, which are weird.
Yeah, that. Okay, Louisiana sausage makes everything good.
I agree. I agree. I'm coming to the tail end of my food pantry box, and I have more pasta for the love. Oh my gosh, more pasta. And it keeps staring me in the face. So I decided I'm gonna do a variation on a dish I've made in the past, which is a pasta and sausage and bean ragu of sorts. And my other one used white beans, but I had these black beans in the freezer, so I pulled them out. Got my hot Italian sausage that I just picked up at Smith's. Major, major sale. And we're gonna mix it all together with some maybe chicken broth, some Parmesan cheese perhaps, or not, I'm not sure yet. We're just gonna taste it and see what it's like, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it should taste good. Okay, here we go. Completed pasta dish. I ended up adding basically a can of black beans, a can of petite diced tomatoes, and 2 cups of chicken broth. And so I'm gonna taste for salt right now and see if it needs anything else. And if it does, I'll add some cheese or something. Oh yeah, I have about a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna stir this in, and I think this is delicious, actually. I might make this more often. So good. It's so good. The last little bit of the food pantry box, and we are done. This is the finale. 1 can of corn, like a half a bag of these potatoes, some freezer burnt chicken. It's gonna be okay. I am using KFC's fried chicken bowl as inspiration. So we're gonna make mashed potatoes out of these, layer some corn on top, and put some fried chicken pieces on top. I'm not actually gonna fry the chicken. I think I'm gonna do it in my air fryer. You could totally do it in the oven as well. And as soon as this thaws, I'll show you what we're gonna do with the chicken, how we're gonna cook it, and we're just gonna layer everything together. Should be delicious. If you've never marinated bites of chicken in mustard and lemon juice mixed together, you really should, because it lends so much flavor. I cut these into kind of bite-sized little nugget sections, and it's been sitting for maybe 20 minutes. So now I'm gonna dip them in my breadcrumbs, and you can kind of make them out of whatever, crunched up crackers or cereal. I had this one and this one just in my pantry, and I think this will be a great application for this panko breadcrumbs. And I'm gonna stick them in my air fryer. Of course, you can fry them just in some oil in a shallow pan, or bake them in the oven. Either way is totally fine. I just find this really easy. Ta-da! The very, very last meal. Man, my mashed potatoes turned out so yummy. If you want to make like a gravy or something, you can totally put that on there. I'm just not a gravy lover in general. So there's my KFC inspired fried chicken mashed potato corn bowl for our last food pantry meal. Wow, that is the end of the cooking. My family ate for so long off of that box. Now, I did add just a hair under $40 worth of extra ingredients. Although I didn't go to the store to purchase any of those, I just added in what I did pay originally, but everything that I added to the meals that you just saw me make, I already had in the house, in my pantry, in my fridge, and in my freezer. As you can see, this food pantry box that we picked up can feed a family for a very long time. I could not believe how long it took me to go through the entire box. I thought it was gonna take me about a week, and it was really like a 2-week process to make all of the dinners. All of the recipes that I kind of made up, I have links for those recipes down in the description box for you if you want to go check them out and try them. The most popular ones, I would say the lasagna soup was such a hit. Haley and Andrew and Dave all fought over that one. And the sausage and bean pasta ragu that I had made, they were all like, I want to take this for lunch, I want to eat this for dinner, can I have it for breakfast the next morning? Like huge, huge hits. So I would definitely recommend trying those. Thank you for joining me in this extremely long video. This has got to be one of the longest ones I've ever done, so I am sorry about that. It's probably way too much, Christine. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button so other people can find it if you think it would be helpful for them. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what kind of meals you would have created with what came in this box. I loved hanging out with you guys today. For me, it's been like 2 weeks, but it was a blast. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.